Korea's exports hit a record low last month. North Korea has demanded that South Korea undergo a nuclear verification process. And Korean scientists have made a breakthrough in treating rheumatoid arthritis. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of February. I'm Nemo Kim. The global economic crisis has hit Korea's export-driven economy especially hard. Exports last month hit a record low, clouding the country's economic outlook for this year.
The amount of cargo handled at the port of Incheon shrank more than 30% last month. Shipments of containers bound for overseas plunged, and container volume at harbors also dwindled. Export delivery by air also dipped 24% from the same period last year.
세관 사무실 통관하러 오는 민원인들도 상당히 많이 줄어들고 있어서 이 물동량 감소를 피부로 느낄 수 있습니다.
Korea has seen a double-digit decrease in exports since November last year. Exports last month also fell 33%, the biggest drop since the government began compiling trade statistics in 1980. Exports to Korea's largest export market, China, decreased 32%, and those to major economies like the U.S. and Japan also shrank by double digits.
각국의 경기 부양책이 나타날 것으로 기대되는 연말까지는 우리 수출도 마이너스 성장을 할 가능성이 커졌습니다.
Imports in Korea have also nosedived, but the bigger decrease in exports led to a trade deficit of nearly $3 billion last month. The government has set trade targets of $450 billion in exports and a trade surplus of $10 billion this year. But meeting those goals will prove difficult considering the massive drop in exports last month.
North Korea has urged South Korea to undergo nuclear verification and disarmament process. This is the latest in the series of offensive announcements made by the North Korean military since the six-party nuclear talks were stalled over the issue of nuclear verification.
The spokesman for the North's General Chief of Staff urged South Korea to undergo nuclear verification to achieve denuclearization on the Korean peninsula.
핵무기를 철폐하는 유일한 방도가 핵무기를 보유한 당사자들이 동시에 핵군축을 실현하는 길밖에 없다는 것을 잘 알아야 한다.
North Korea appears to attempt to place the blame on others for scuttling the six-party nuclear talks while gaining an edge in the future nuclear negotiations by flaunting its nuclear status. It may also be a preemptive move ahead of a meeting with former U.S. Ambassador to Korea Stephen Bosworth and other North Korea experts. Lately, the military has been speaking for North Korea instead of the Foreign Affairs Ministry in charge of nuclear negotiations. This indicates that the North will continue to take a hardline approach to nuclear issues. The South Korean government decided not to respond to such announcements of tough stance from Pyongyang. Yet, Washington has been pondering a new approach to the North Korean issues since Obama's inauguration. So North Korea's harsh rhetoric and disarmament demand may affect the future inter-Korean relations and nuclear talks.
President Lee Myung-bak has held talks with senior members of the ruling Grand National Party. They've agreed on the need for cooperation between the cabinet and the party to overcome the economic crisis. Former party chairwoman Park Geun-hye says getting public consensus on contentious bills is much more important than getting them passed.
President Lee has spoken to former Grand National Party chairwoman Park for the first time in 8 months and on Park's 57th birthday. Park sat next to the president and received a birthday cake. The president and party members agreed to prioritize economic recovery and pledged to do whatever is needed to help the economy.
당과 정부 우리 모두 힘을 합쳐서 위기 극복하는데 우리가 최선을 다했다 하는 그런 이야기 내년 좀 들을 수 있도록 그렇게 좀 해줬으면 좋을 것 같습니다.
The president accepted the ruling party's request to name party members to the cabinet, including lawmaker Lee Dal-gon as Public Administration and Security Minister. The meeting also resembled a birthday party for former party chairwoman Park. Therefore, observers say the cabinet and the party are set to conduct close cooperation and harmony. But Park says the ruling party should concentrate on winning public consensus on controversial bills before having them passed.
충분한 시간을 가지고 어떤 것이 옳고 그른가 이런 것을 잘 토론도 하고 검토도 하고 해서 국민 공감대 위에서 추진이 되면 좋겠다.
National Assembly Speaker Kim Hyung-oh stressed dialogue and negotiations with the opposition camp. He opposed unilateralism at Parliament, hinting at the ruling party changing its strategy to get parliamentary approval of the bills.
Rheumatoid arthritis is a crippling disease that destroys the joints in the body. For the first time in the world, Korean scientists have discovered a key substance that causes rheumatoid arthritis, opening a way to better treatments.
This arthritic patient has suffered serious chronic pain in her joints of hands and feet.
그렇게 아프고 디딜 수가 없고 그냥 엉금엉금 기다시피 하고 이 엉덩이로 이렇게 당겼어요.
Rheumatoid arthritis is a chronic inflammatory disease in which cells attack their own joint tissues. Curing the disease was impossible until now, as cause of the disorder was not clinically evident. But a research team at a university hospital in Korea tested the joint fluid of 35 rheumatoid arthritic patients and found that more than 90% of them have 5 times more placental growth factors than the normal. Placental growth factors should involve only with the fetal development and growth, but they can also affect the joints causing arthritis.
염증 매개 물질을 크게 증가시키고 또 하나는 혈관을 풍부하게 만들어서 류마티스가 잘 자라도록 만들어주는 그런 기능을 하고 있습니다.
When a mouse's DNA was modified to suppress the production of placental growth factors, the mouse showed almost no symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. Researchers project that clinical test of new drugs under development will take place in 3 to 4 years, giving hope to some 50,000 patients of arthritis.
From next year, doctors will be able to tell expectant mothers the gender of their unborn babies older than 28 weeks. The Health and Welfare Ministry will revise a law on this as a follow-up to the Constitutional Court's decision last year. The court ruled that banning parents from finding out the gender of their unborn baby is unconstitutional.
From next year, expecting mothers can find out the gender of their unborn baby after 28 weeks of pregnancy. The Health and Welfare Ministry set the age limit at 28 weeks for fear of abortions after the gender is known. Koreans traditionally prefer to have sons. The abortion of fetuses under 28 weeks old is banned in Korea. The planned revision aims to prevent confusion that could arise from the unconditional revelation of a fetus's gender.
태아 성별에 따른 낙태가 여전히 이루어지고 있는 현실과 의료인의 직업 수행의 자유, 태아 부모의 알 권리 등 헌법재판소의 판결 취지를 종합적으로 고려를 해서
Under the revised law, doctors and nurses will have their licenses suspended if they tell the gender of fetuses under 28 weeks old. In July last year, the Constitutional Court ruled as unconstitutional the ban on parents learning about their fetus's gender. Therefore, the ministry will revise the law by the end of the year. But certain experts say medical technology to discern gender is not 100% accurate, warning of public distrust in medical technologies.
This time of year used to be the peak season for flowers, with all the graduation ceremonies and Valentine's Day. But this year, the prices of flowers are falling along with the demand.
Yellow blossoms of freesia hint at the imminent arrival of spring. It's now a high-demand season for flower farmers, with upcoming ceremonies celebrating graduations and beginning of a new school year. But flower growers are not happy. They opted to grow cold-resistant freesias to lighten the heating cost, but that increased the total output by 30% since last year. The price of freesias this year is less than half of that of last year. Mature chrysanthemums are faring no better. Even with fewer output, prices have remained steady or even dropped. Recently, the prices have fallen by $1 overnight.
최소한 8,000원 정도 이제 정 아쉬운 대로 받으려면 7,000원은 나와야 되는데 지금 아마 5,000원 선 밑으로 내려갈 것 같은.
Many flower growers have given up on cultivating roses as the flowers require much heating. Despite the upcoming graduation season, the plight of flower industry is getting deeper with mounting heating bills and shrinking demands.
American football star Hines Ward is celebrating his second Super Bowl title. His Pittsburgh Steelers won a thrilling game over the Arizona Cardinals, 27-23.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are champions of the football world for the second time in 4 years. The team won a league record 6th title in Super Bowl 43. Steelers star Hines Ward shed tears of joy after winning his second Super Bowl. Ward played with a knee injury and had just 2 catches for 43 yards, but helped the team nonetheless.
To be a part of that, it was just a special feeling, and tears of joy, man. It's just, two championships in 4 years. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Linebacker James Harrison scored on a 100-yard interception return, the longest play in Super Bowl history. Santonio Holmes scored the winning touchdown with just 35 seconds left. Holmes went from former teenage drug dealer to Super Bowl MVP.
Man, I just definitely hope it goes down in history. I wanted to be, a superstar tonight, and I became a superstar.
U.S. President Obama had predicted the Steelers would win in a close game. The game was also the second most watched Super Bowl, with more than 95 million viewers, including American soldiers serving in Afghanistan.
Works by Gustav Klimt are in Korea, so let's take a glimpse into the artistic world of Klimt and his beautiful golden ladies.
This is Klimt's representative painting symbolic of qualities of the femme fatale. In this piece, he portrayed Judith, a heroine of the Old Testament, in an erotic and intriguing way, utilizing the gold tinting. In this work, Eve subtly smiles with imposing looks, while Adam seems lethargic. Klimt depicts human instincts through strong and provocative female forms and conveys far deeper meaning than that the objects alone would suggest.
He loved women, and he related to them very passionately, and that's why he was so popular as a portraitist of women.
Klimt later sought ways to reach and communicate with audiences. He adopted the techniques of other artistic genres, such as architecture and sculpture. He sublimed the techniques in art and introduced a total art. This had driven him to complete a mural on the theme of Beethoven's symphony. This landscape was drawn with soft brush touches. Despite rumors around his private life, it's not the classic demure beauty that Gustav Klimt shows. He rather depicts a woman of his love and their memories to be remembered forever.
여러 가지로 서로에게 정신적으로 의지하고 그리고 어떤 그 예술에 대한 이야기를 서로 나누었던 그런 그 삶의 동지적인 그런 관계에 있었던
Klimt was often criticized for eroticism in his works, but now he's remembered in our heart as one of the most beloved artists.
Independent music used to be thought of as a minority genre in Korea, but now indie music groups have found their way to reach the mainstream. So let's take a look at how indie groups are struggling to continue with music despite many obstacles. We're in Hongdae district in western Seoul on a Friday night. Indie musicians begin shows one after another. They're not superstars yet, but they rule the stage, at least when they're playing. For Tobacco Juice, this is a special night. The band has recently released their first album 5 years after the band was formed.
이 맛에 하는구나. 예. 그런 생각 들었습니다.
But financial problems facing group members remain unresolved. After the show, the group's lead singer Kwon Gi-wook goes out to find a part-time manual labor job. It's been 10 years since he began playing music, but he still has many financial hardships.
요즘같이 일이 없으면 이제 뭐 그 시간당 알바라도 어떻게 해야 되는데 그것도 좀 이제 나이가 드니까 아르바이트도 이제 잘 안 써주시더라고요.
They say sometimes they seriously consider giving up music.
곡을 이렇게 좀 갑자기 떠올라가지고 곡 생각하면서 위험하게 공장 기계를 만지다가 손가락이 잘렸는데 그때 좀 안타까웠죠.
Tobacco juice might disappear quietly, as many other indie musicians have done before. Another indie band, Changiha and Faces, sing about their harsh reality in a plain, chant-like way. The group's unique dancing has become popular on the internet, and they've sold more than 10,000 copies of the self-made single album. It's unusual for an indie group.
음악적으로뿐만 아니라 어떤 리스너들과 소통하는 방식에 대한 고민도 최근에 들어서는 뮤지션들이 많이 하고 있다.
Indie music is now used in many TV commercials. Indie singer Yojo has grabbed the attention of music fans as her songs are being used for dramas, commercials and films.
목소리도 일단 특이하고 신선하고 실력도 있어서 인기가 많은 것 같아요.
억지로 이렇게 내는 그런 발성 말고 그냥 되게 사람 듣기 좋게 하는 목소리, 이렇게 편안하게 하는 목소리, 그런 것 때문에 좋았어요.
The domestic popular song market is dominated by ballads and dance music. Indie music meets the demand of music fans who want to listen to songs of various genres. Many indie bands are pursuing their own music, dreaming of communicating with many music lovers out there. And it's time now for a look at today's economic indicators, followed by world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Join me tomorrow at the same time. Have a great day.